Hello, my name is Madison Pearl, and my research is on the effects of sleep on academic performance. Sleep is a necessity in life, and it makes a big difference in our daily lives if there's a lack of it. These are the two studies I have chosen to review for my presentation, the first one being the effects of sleep on academic performance and job performance, and the second one being sleep duration and academic performance among student pharmacists. Before I dive into the studies, here is some background on the topic. The effects of sleep manifest in both health and performance. The relationship between sleep and performance have been studied in many different fields, including human science, medicine, psychology, education, and business. And inadequate sleep decreases general alertness, impairs attention, resulting in slowed cognitive processing. The two studies being analyzed do differ slightly in their purpose. The first study's purpose on the left was to evaluate if academic performance and job performance are affected by amount of sleep. And the second study's purpose on the right was to evaluate the association between academic performance in pharmacist students and their sleep duration. The two studies also differ in their study designs. The study on the left used a case study that used self-report questionnaires, while the study on the right used a cross-sectional design. In the effects of sleep on academic performance and job performance, it found that after looking at the 172 questionnaires, there is a direct relationship to sleep and job and academic performance. And in sleep duration and academic performance among pharmacist students, it found that more than half of the students got less than 7 hours of sleep and almost half were tired throughout the day. More sleep resulted in higher GPA. The lack of sleep can be shown in this graph. The red line represents participants who reported 6 hours of sleep or less, while the orange line represents 7 hours of sleep or more. As you can see, there is a definite difference between these two. Now jumping into internal and external validity on the two studies, I will start off by talking about internal validity and the effects of sleep on academic performance and job performance. There are many threats to internal validity, and the first one I found was instrumentation. In the study, the participants' information was self-reported, which could cause bias. The next threat is experimental mortality. 34 students answered less than half of the questionnaire, so their responses could not be analyzed. And lastly, selection interactions. 60.5% of participants were female, 83.7% were Caucasian, 96.5% were 18 to 24 years old, and 32% were not working. Because there's not too much balance between these numbers, as you can see in the charts to the right, there is potential for bias, and it's hard to generalize these findings. There was some measures taken to control these threats as well, though. For sleep habits and sleep quality section, the Pittsburgh Sleep Quality Index was used and has been found to be reliable and valid. Also, GPA was used to measure academic performance. Next is internal validity and sleep duration academic performance among student pharmacists. There were 3 threats I found to the study as well. The first one was maturation. Recall error was a potential because participants were asked to recall sleep behaviors and grades over a 6-month period. Next was instrumentation. The questionnaire was not validated, which limited its applicability. Because a cross-sectional design was used, causality could not be found between academic performance and sleep. Sleep quality was not taken into consideration in this study, so this is a confounder. And lastly was history. There were confounders that could have influenced the results, including intellectual ability, motivation, emotional health, personality, and stressors. There were also measures taken to control these threats as well, including student demographics, including age, sex, race, current professional year, and location on campus. Also, students were questioned on their willingness to complete this study to help control subject dropout or experimental mortality. And the study excluded students if they had any repeated coursework and or prescription medications for sleep was being used. This was to prevent confounders. The studies also have external validity. The threat that I found in the study is setting. The participants knew they were a part of this study, so their answers in the questionnaires could be swayed or biased. A measure was taken to control these threats. There were 23,990 undergraduate emails were taken down, 8,709 students were removed for missing data. The list was divided into 2 by gender, and every 6th student was selected from the list. This made it so gender representation was similar at the university at large, and systematic sampling was used. The external validity I found in the study was setting as well. Participants knew they were a part of the study, so their answers in the questionnaires could be biased. And the study was done in a single institution, making it hard to generalize to other populations. The measure taken to control these threats were having students in their 4th year excluded because they were completing their advanced pharmacy experiences in Alabama, and this would have made the results different than the rest. Lastly, both studies at the end talked about the possibility for future research in the areas of study. The study on the left concluded by saying that in future research, studies could use their instruments and apply it to research, and further research could look into the impact of DSPS on academic performance and job performance. The study on the left concluded by saying that in future research, studies on this should enhance generalizability. Also, an experimental study would be ideal, but an observational study would be used as well to remove recall bias. Here are my references and permalinks to the articles used, and thank you for listening to my presentation. Have a good day.